This is partners in the process, 'cause we're built better together.
All right, this is Robert Guehne. This podcast is today with Joey Yak. Thank you so much, Joey, for coming on. I appreciate it. I will say this is my first podcast, and Joey is my first guest.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to have you. I'm excited to have met you.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to do big things, man. So,
Dude, I appreciate you. I appreciate the realness. I love your wife. I really do. She's awesome.
I love her too.
The day she came in with her sambas, I just knew that we all...
I got a pair now, by the way.
Hey, I almost wore mine today just because I knew you guys were coming.
You should have.
But, dude, I am excited because the one thing that really appealed about you was your ops. Like, you love operations. And me, as a natural-born hustler,
Yep.
Operations is not my strong point, and it is not something that comes easy to me. And I think that when it's time to double down on the ops, there are times I run from it and say, and I don't even know if I'm like intentionally saying I'm running from you. It's just my nature of I'm stressed. This shit is getting weird and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go close another deal.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a natural born closer, I'm a hustler, and I'm a creative. So going from self-hustler, self-employed guy to CEO, entrepreneur, it's a different ballgame, bro.
Well, and see that path of least resistance you're talking about, that tends to be where people want to saddle. That's where they want to sit in, because when things get a little tough or there's a little resistance and they see another path, then that's what they take.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if I can't make it work this way, even though that may be the best way to do it, I'm just going to go around it and I'm going to go this way because this is easier, right? You might get the same result, but it might have been better if you did it the other way.
Yeah.
So when we work with people about systems and different things you put in place, everything from your mindset all the way to your physical ability to do something and the way that you structure all that to get the result that you want, that's why we're so passionate about operations.
Yeah.
I mean, that is really why we focus so hard on just that, because like we've talked about, everybody push sales and they push marketing, and those are very important pieces of business. Absolutely they are. But the operations is the backbone that keeps all that running. So if you've got, it doesn't matter if you've got an assembly line or you've got a crew of 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 people out here that are doing production and cuts or whatever it is, that is an operation.
Yeah.
And the ability to be able to understand how to navigate that, how to not just control it, but to be able to put the pieces where they need to go and let them do their thing. We have actually personally dealt with this very recently. And so it's creating that business model that fits you, and it's creating the operations around it that functions in the way that you need to, so that it just does what it's supposed to do, the way that you set it up, so that you're not constantly having to have your hands on everything.
That's my biggest goal. And I know with one of the questions you even told me we were going to talk about, like, man, it's my biggest goal of 2024 is to eliminate me from, like, if the product has Joey written all over it, it's not the product then. You know,
Gotcha.
like, I have the people that spend the big money with us, and I'm very involved, and I always have those people. I love being involved, but what is the product that is scalable and that is really moving the needle and opportunities for my team?
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's what we're doing here.
Right.
It's what you do. It's the podcast stuff that, and I'm seeing it and I'm flowing, and like, we have the other side being built out, and we're going to build two other.
Going to be phenomenal. I mean, just take a little bit. I took a look while they were still building things. Like, it was a blank room, but I could see your vision.
Yeah.
I could see what you were wanting to do. I could see how it related to what other people have done with podcasts from different ones that I've watched. And I'm like, man, that is just, it's going to be awesome.
And I want it to be content rooms. I want it to be podcast rooms. Like, and once we get the revenue up a little bit, the people that are downstairs probably going to have to find something else, because we're going to build more down there. Like, I have the vision. I have the vision for Get Attention STL to where this will always be HQ. This will always be where I'm at.
Yeah.
But I have, like, there might be one down in South County. Get Attention STL - South County. Get Attention STL - North County. Like, who knows? Like, I see buildings with content rooms and podcast rooms, and like, maybe they even go in and sit in there and, like, you know, they start their like, before they start, they like look at the TV, like, where you go somewhere and it's me. What up, y'all? It's Joey. Get Attention STL. Hey, man, it's time to, you know, me kind of like edutaining them on like.
Edutaining, I like that.
Let's edutain them.
I like that.
We're going to help them. We're going to help them. Hey, man, we're going to get you entertaining content. And the whole focus around what I want to build is, look, we're going to help you get creative content consistently, but also I want to make sure that we're finding the ways to where we're showing them how to get sponsors of basically where it pays for their fee.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
So it's content, it's the consistency, but then the networking that comes
Yeah.
along of the face-to-face. There's nothing like a face-to-face interaction with someone when you can feel them, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm learning how to package all that up right now. I actually just had McKenna, which is the new hire.
Yeah.
She's in there doing some time stamping. We're training, but like she's kind of my guinea pig of like exposing me of I have no SOPs dialed in,
Sure.
right? So she comes in and
That is definitely a restraint for a lot of companies. I mean, especially when you come from being a small entrepreneur, doing most of it just yourself,
Yeah.
and you're growing that team. Those SOPs, that's like a big word, like a big business concept that little guys don't. I don't need that.
I
Man.
don't
I can
need
just
all that
handle that
shit.
stuff. But the bigger you start to scale, you realize if I don't have these in place, I can't remove myself from there.
Yeah.
I can't get out of it. I
Yeah.
can't remove.
so she came in and she sat with us. Abby was teaching her kind of her role. Jeff is the main, editor. So I had Jeff go and do 2 tutorials on how to make cover photos, how to edit, just 10-minute videos.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, cool, we got those. And then I got, we have nobody in here switching no more. So now we use a software that switches for us based off of our voice. So if
Okay.
it hears me talking, it's going to switch to me.
Oh, nice.
Because having someone sit in here is miserable. It just is. So it's like also one of those things like,
so
yeah,
efficiency.
yes. And it's like, okay, I can invest 800 hours in that software.
You could keep that guy now, though, but instead of him having to sit here for an hour, he
And
can go
dreading
do something
it.
else. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And now
Yeah.
like Jeff came in here, made sure the cameras, instead of him sitting here, now he's editing, right? So
Right.
it's the efficiency and it's like spend a little bit more right now,
Yep.
but really it's cheaper in the long run because
Correct.
paying people hourly.
Yep.
But I had her actually watch all the videos and then break them down by step 1, step 2, because some people learn different, I feel like.
Yeah.
Some want to watch a video, some just want to look at a document.
Yeah.
So it's really dialing in those SOPs and the training
Mhm.
for people to come on.
Mhm.
And I mean, we're in a good spot right now, man. We really are.
And something I like to tell people about that too on the training side of things, we have this idea of the way we want things, and sometimes we overcomplicate it. You got to make it simple. I think it was Richard Branson that said, make it so simple that an idiot can do it because one day they will. So when you're putting SOPs in place, you have to make them simple. Because if somebody else can't come in and pick up that book and just be like A, B, C, D, perfect, I can do that. It's got all these 1.1, 1.2, 1. It's too complicated.
Yeah.
I know we tend to overcomplicate things. I have tended to overcomplicate things in my past. So I've realized that sometimes simple is just better. So when you're putting those in place, start them super simple and then build on top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just make them simple. So you bring new people in, they can pick it up real quick, get all the basis down, and then you can add to it from there.
I think one of my biggest problems right now is some of the jobs are so repetitive and so like I'm such a passionate person that some of the roles like sitting there and time stamping, right?
Mhm.
Like I want to move people too quickly. Like my wife's like, dude, she's been here for a week. Why are you trying to push her into
Yeah.
other stuff? It's very hard for me to know that like sitting there and time stamping like that.
Explain time stamping.
Time stamping is like, all right, someone's gonna listen to this whole episode,
Mhm.
and from 1 minute to 2 minutes, it was like, ooh, that's fucking fire.
Okay.
That's a reel. And then
Okay.
you chop it up and you put it to the side, and then the editors do all the
Gotcha.
music, the captions, cover photos, all that.
Gotcha.
So someone kind of prepares the editor, kind of
But
like
you
an
also
assistant
need
editor.
a visionary for that also because they got to be able to notice.
They have to know what a reel
They
is.
have to pick a reel up out of
Yeah.
that. So it needs to be somebody who understands that too.
Yeah. But
Gotcha.
the tedious, and that's what Abby kind of trains people. When she came in, she's like, what do you think is a reel?
Mhm.
And then we were like, dope. You
She
know
gets
what, you get it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, but knowing the tedious jobs as someone that's so passionate and,
Yeah.
and screams out, don't let no one cap you. And it's hard to be a boss sometimes because
It is
it's
hard.
like,
It is hard.
okay, I'm about to put you in this position knowing the role that you're about to do. And like, fuck, it's hard for me to have people do stuff that I wouldn't do. And not saying that I wouldn't do that, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit there 8 hours a day
Right,
time stamping.
right.
So I'm trying to get over the hump of just
So one of those things there to like kind of get over that in your mind is selling people on the idea of where they're wanting to go.
Yeah.
So they need to see your vision. some of the problems people have in scaling and growing their businesses, they don't share their vision with everybody. So nobody knows where the company's going. If they don't know where it's going, they don't know what to expect. They don't know what you expect out of them. They don't know what their role is. They don't know what to do. So when you share your vision with people, like long term, like give them a 10-year goal, 5-year goals, 2-year goals, 1-year goals. When they see that vision and they know that they're in the suck right now, which is what I call it. It's like we did it. And then when I bring people in, they're in it for a while. It's the
Yeah.
suck. So when you're in that suck, they have to understand, I know I'm here, but I'm paying my dues because this is where his vision is. And I know if I just pay my dues now, this is where I'll get. So selling that vision to them early on is super important.
Yeah. And I think I naturally do that too. Cause
You really do.
I do.
Very well.
I definitely, and I think it's just me of just being in my own head with it. I mean, I'm learning how to. I'm a natural leader, but when you sit there and you're like, no, you're like, even people calling me their boss has always been weird. I'm
Sure.
like, you ain't got to say it like that. Like, hey, boss. I'm like, nah.
You got to come up with that persona. Like I talked about that. I think I asked you that. Like, what kind of persona do you want? You know, I had a guy once, he started calling me Mr. G. So it kind of stuck. It stuck so much that was joking around. And he's like, you should get a license plate. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. He's like, I bet you won't. So I did. I was like, you bet me, I'm going to do it. So now I have license plates like that because they just, my guys started calling me Mr. G because I didn't like being called boss man. I didn't like that.
I don't either.
So they just call me Mr. G. So and it sounds ignorant, but my last name's Guehne. So it just flows. It works, you know? So like, it is hard to get through that. It really is, because then you get a mental block like, man, but you also don't want to be people's buddy.
Yep.
Because then you lose respect.
Yeah.
And
My
you gotta have that.
wife's told me hard about that boundary right now.
Oh,
of just
mine is
like,
too. Mine is very
just
much
like,
so.
hey, dude, like,
Yeah.
don't like, and it's not even the disrespect of like, you know, females, and then, you know, I just care so much,
I know.
and it's just like,
I get it.
it's hard. It's because I like literally want to like pour into people, and sometimes it's like there will be a line to be crossed, and it's like, you know, Brandon James said it, and I put it in one of my posts that I can't really care about your growth and feelings at the same time.
I seen that, and I think I commented on it. I feel you, because when he said that, he's like, listen, when I'm growing and I'm making moves, I don't have time for your feelings. When you say that to somebody, it really hits them wrong. But if you stop and you actually absorb it and you think about it, I don't have time for your feelings. I don't have time for my feelings.
Yeah.
I'm moving.
Yeah.
This is my objective. This is my goal. I'm moving. So I'm not casting yours aside, and I'm not saying that they're not important. I'm just saying I don't have time for them. He hit me dead in the middle of the chest when he said that. I was like, yep.
That's why I love doing work with him though too, is because he'll keep it real with me, and I know he won't sugarcoat with me.
Yeah.
And there's every time like I'm with him, like, what can I be doing better? And like he'll say little things, and I'm like, all right, bet. You know, I just want to improve, and I just want to be the best version of me and my team.
Yeah.
And just learning also, as you move down the process with current clients, you have to keep evolving and keep adapting, or you will get stagnant. You know, it's like, you know, I'm about 6 months with him now, and you start to run into like, is content looking the same? Is the concepts, is the message still the same? Like it's a lot of energy that you have to put in for
sure.
somebody's brand, especially with someone that's doing numbers like he's doing, and the energy that he's putting off just running the business. So it's like that convenience for people at a high level like that is high.
I see that you offer, like service-wise, you offer a lot of different services. So like we could be in here doing a podcast. They're out there shooting videos or shooting commercials, things like that. You're going to people's places and actually shooting content. So when like I've seen some videos where guys are in a room talking to their people, like maybe they're doing a meeting.
Yeah.
Are you guys shooting that?
Yeah.
And then so you're cutting all that up too. So when you're changing locations and switching that kind of up, I mean, it creates a lot of different content.
Yeah.
It's not just the same monotonous, like he's sitting in a chair in front of a green screen talking kind of a thing. I mean,
Exactly. So with service wise, like that's we come from like when I first started, it was from the music industry. I started doing podcast intros for people, and then I started doing custom theme songs, and then I would hire a videographer. I've never been a shooter. Like you'll never catch me behind a camera forever.
That's your thing. You know it.
I just know.
You know it's necessary, but it's not your thing.
This is not me. So I would always find the person.
Delegating 101 right there.
Yeah, and like shit, if back then if I could have afforded a camera, I would have done one. It was just easier to like grab Matt or grab somebody else and be like, hey man, I'll toss you a couple bucks, and I would make a music video for him. And then it got to where I would shoot a commercial for someone, and then I started getting so many sales that I was like, damn, now I think it's cheaper to put someone on staff. So I would put someone on for, a couple grand.
Sure.
And then as I started building and I was doing it at my house and the commercials and just learning, and then my whole thing was, who has my clients?
Yeah.
One thing about me is I've never been the guy to go after one individual client. I'm the guy that goes after the person that has all my clients. So digital marketers were my cup of tea.
Gotcha.
It still is sometimes. Like,
Gotcha.
it's like Friday I got a podcast with a St. Louis digital marketing company.
Mhm.
And I'm like, because I know my lane. I never want to run ads. I've tried it before. I hate that shit. I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm a content guy.
Yep.
And it's like, all right, you have 200 local businesses you work with. How can I sell you and then get all them?
Correct.
Right? Even if I get a couple percent, it's easier than me going after individuals. So that was always my lane. But as I've grown, I've been in business now 5 years, and I've shifted a lot. Like, I've done a lot, and I had to learn what I didn't want to do in order to know where I'm at now.
Do you feel like that growth was too fast at times?
I feel like the home service commercials, I outfished the pond, they say. Like,
Yeah.
I even had a client tell me I'm outfishing the pond, where I was renting commercials because I was getting so burnt out doing
Yeah.
commercials over and over. I was like, well, these producers for artists,
Yeah.
rappers,
Yeah.
are leasing beats to these artists. So 100 artists might have the same beat,
Yeah.
and they all pay $30. So I was like, well, why can't I lease my commercials
Uh-huh.
to business owners a 30-mile radius for a couple $100?
Sure.
So, I mean, we did like 300,000 in sales on that, and it was just me or maybe one other person, but my lack of business operations
Yeah.
totally, because I was squirreling. I was
Right.
like, I don't want to sit here pounding phones all day,
Yeah.
because it was a different beast of, we would run ads, we would get leads, we would call them, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah. It was a sales game.
Yep.
And like, I'm a natural relationship kind of guy. And I was like, this shit is like, ugh to me.
Yeah.
So I would try to bring people on, and I just did not know how to leverage the relationship with them, maybe even give them more ownership
Mhm.
so it could still run.
Right.
I would just
And you
lack.
run into problems there too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one person came in, was definitely about to take it over, and then kind of just left. And
Yeah.
like, it gave me a $30,000 learning lesson
Yeah.
of like, that
Sometimes
I'm
those are the
still
best
paying
lessons
off.
that we learn. Yes.
Yeah, and I say lesson and not no loss. I mean, like, literally,
Yeah.
the guy today that, because I did have a 5% partner in it, he sold his company for $100 million, and like, I thought that bringing him in, it was going to be life-changing experience. But
Yeah.
what I realized is I didn't need somebody with money. I needed somebody that knew how to operate a business, and not that knew how because he knew how,
Yeah.
but that was going to actually be in the trenches with me.
Right.
Like,
Right.
operate this thing for me. I'm a visionary. That's what I've
I
learned.
need an operator.
I need a fucking operator.
Yeah, and
And
every
somebody
businesses
that's-
we've ever had, it's been like that. Like when you form these businesses, it's operators. There's some big people out there right now that buy and sell businesses, and they'll tell you that is the main thing. When I buy a business, I can't go in there and do it. I can organize the whole business side of it. I can put it all together, but I need a freaking operator.
Yep.
I need somebody who operates that thing. So I can put all the SOPs in place. I can put the structure together, the framework, infrastructure, but I need that singular person who can basically orchestrate the band.
Yeah.
I need that person. You got to have it. Otherwise, you're stuck in the trenches all the time.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, like, and it's really a hard learning lesson for me right here, right now, with this building, with Get Attention STL. I've
Mhm.
never went deep on one thing.
Yeah.
I've always squirreled. I've
Yeah.
always had a lot of things going at once,
Staying
and it was always
focused.
about me. It's staying focused with Get Attention. Like, I still till, I got Tim Grover, I got Drew
Mhm.
Hanlon, I got a home warranty company, I got a can washer company, like, that hires Joey Yak, and like,
Who's your biggest client that you've ever had?
Tim Grover.
Tim Grover's your
For
biggest
sure.
one. Who would you say is your most memorable out of all the ones you've had?
Dude, Tim Grover, I attacked him.
Mhm.
Like, when I first started, Bradley, Tim Grover, Garrett J. White, Ryan Stewman, Cole Hatter, like anyone that was doing 7 figures plus, I noted Billy Jean. Billy
Mhm.
Jean, I don't know if you know who Billy is. He's a marketer. Billy
I've
Jean is
heard.
marketing.
Yeah.
Off the chain. His
Really?
ads are so fucking dope. I made him a song. He was actually like my first. So this is dope. I call it the Yak Attack, and I still do it to this day.
Yeah, I've heard you say it.
I made him a song, Billy, and he already had videos on YouTube. So I stole his videos off of YouTube. I called Matt. This is when I was living in Hazelwood, 2 bed, 1 bath,
Yeah.
working out of my shed. And I was like, yo,
Working out of his shed.
10 by 12 shed.
Grind.
Yeah, grinding.
Yeah.
Because we had no room in the house.
This is how it gets started.
Yeah. And we called it the BB, backyard business.
BB,
And like I was rapping.
Yes,
and
yes.
I took that BB.
Yeah.
It's at my new house right now.
I got you.
I made the song. I posted it. Matt came over and he actually did that for free. I was like, I need to make this song. Like I want it to feel like we did it together, blah, blah, blah. Billy seen it. Billy calls me. You know who this is? I'm like, Billy, what's good, dude? Da, da, da. He was like, I can throw you $600. I was like, I don't want no money. I just want you to blast it and shout me out. And I made like $3,000 that week and I never looked back. And I looked at my wife. I was like, it's on. So I kept doing that formula with Brad Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Lee, I made him a song, got it to him. He was like, holy shit, this is dope. Who are you? And I'm like, once you go yak, you never go back. Like I already had my flow of like, I've always been the character from the music, so it was very easy. I was on tour, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Like I was around.
But you're using that creativeness that you have, and your marketing and selling. You were doing it all
selling
together.
my story.
Yeah.
Who are you? Well, I'm Joe Yak, man. I come from the music industry. Bone Thugs and Harmony had a record deal, but like I'm using my past, packaging it for now, for the present.
When it easily could have pulled you back. It easily could have hindered you, and it could have been your sad sob story. Instead, you're like, nah, man, this is where I came
preparation.
from. This is what pushed
my
me to get where I'm at.
perspective was, oh wow, I had to do that. I had to do that in order to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And when you change your frame of thinking that way, it actually, you just get motivated. You're like, oh shit, like, but you gotta choose to believe
You
that.
have to choose it. Yeah.
Choose to believe.
Correct.
I'm like, damn, I'm gonna choose that this is the truth.
Yeah.
And people sometimes get lost in that. And luckily I'm a creative and I can be able to,
There's
it's like
not too many
line.
people that are as creative as you. There's somebody that you remind me of, and I couldn't figure it out for the longest time, and then it clicked to me. You remind me of Rob Deerdick.
Oh, I love
And this
Rob.
place reminds me of the Fantasy Factory.
Yeah.
I
I listen to his
love
podcast
that
all the
show.
time.
Yeah, that dude has really transitioned from just being a clown, having a good time, to making some money, to getting addicted to making that money, to making businesses, to going, hey, businesses don't have to be all suit and staunch, and like we can have a good time, you know?
Yeah.
Then he had the Fantasy Factory, which I don't know if that worked out or not. I think he said it didn't ultimately, but now he's got his podcast, and he's got a lot of really good content on there, good things to say about people. But like that visionary, man, you guys are like brothers.
Yeah, I know.
You
And
really
I already
are.
know in my mind I will meet him and
You
do
got
something
you.
with him.
You
one day.
guys would click like.
He will get yak attacked one
Oh
day.
man, you'll just
Mark
be
my
like
word.
the younger version of him. Like
Yeah.
he'd be like, oh, this guy here. I got
Because you can feel that shit and you can see it. Yeah, I like him, dude, a lot. I like him.
Yeah.
And he's killing it. I mean,
he has been for a long time.
for a very long
But
time.
it's because he's a genuine guy, just like you,
Yeah.
genuine people. And people that tend to be really successful have a past. And it's not always a good past. I don't think his was that bad. Actually, I think he had a pretty good upbringing. But nevertheless, I mean, he went through some stuff. He went through plenty of stuff.
Yeah, and I think everyone goes through their own shit, and like what you may think is worse. Like, let's say someone goes through something that's so traumatic, and I go through something that I think is so, like, I don't think you can really compare because, you know, mine might seem worse, but who says that I went through it worse than you? And
Right.
we can't really compare it.
Right.
You know?
They're different stories. They're not really compared. We're our own story on itself. So maybe I can relate. But comparing, and that's not really a true thing to be able to say, you know?
With before I squirreled, the most memorable client would definitely be Billie Jean or Tim Grover or Brad Lee, because with Brad Lee, man, I flew out to Vegas and lied and said I was going to be there.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, well, if you're going to be here, stop by. And like, that's when I booked my flight. I got a rental car, drove to LA because I couldn't afford a hotel.
Yeah.
Slept on my buddy's floor, woke up, drove back to Vegas. So that's a 4-hour trip just to go to sleep, basically. And he was like, where are you staying? And I just kept it
But
real
you
with
knew
him.
you wasn't missing it.
I knew I wasn't.
Yeah.
I
See,
created that opportunity.
we have an event later this year, and he's speaking at that event. And she really likes Bradley. She likes his style. She likes the way he is. He's kind of like this older, wise.
What it is.
Yeah, he's
He's
real
smooth
laid
ass.
back. He's smooth. Yeah, smoking the cigars. Just
Yeah.
like, hey. And so we booked that event because I'm like, we really both want to go see him, you know? And everybody has got a different spin on the way they do things, but they're a lot alike in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so what I notice is the further you go up the chain, the more those people work together. Even though they're really not that much alike, they still have one thing in common. That's the success. And they realize in each other, rather than competing, let's work together.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how we can make this work. Even though I know I don't do things like you. I mean, he'll straight up tell you. He'll be like, listen, like when he's talking about Andy Elliott, he's like, Andy will come, I'll tell you what you need to do. Andy will come knock on your damn door and drag you out of your house and make sure you do it.
Yeah.
That's not me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we still work together because we still have the same vision. We
Yep.
still understand that this is the end goal. And if I'm wanting people to be better, so is he. We just don't do it the same way.
Yep.
So I have mad respect for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
a lot of collaboration instead of competing.
yeah. But I mean, as far as working with all those people and stuff, I mean, I think that is a huge testament. I don't know how many people really know how much you've actually done. Do people really know? Or do people just, I mean, they get to meet, do they understand like how many big people you've actually worked with?
I think they do. Some do, some don't. And I think that for a very long time, that's why I'm so ready for Get Attention. Cause like it would be nothing for me to kind of jump on an ad, put some gas, aka some ad, on my car, aka the video. I always say my videos are like the car, but you got to put gas in that car,
Right.
aka ad spend, or
Right,
unless
right.
you have a crazy
You
organic
told
following.
me that too.
Yeah, straight up. And it would be so easy for me to do that right now for this city and take this fucking city over as a social media video production company.
Yeah.
Because that's what I am.
Yeah.
But I don't want to outfish the pond.
Right.
So like I'm over here, and that's why I'm so excited to be on here, is like just to make sure that I don't overcomplicate this thing.
Yeah.
And that I keep it simple.
Let's get into a little bit of the weeds
do that.
on this operation. Okay. How many people do you have here?
6.
Okay, you got 6 people. What are their roles? Like how many in each role, and what's their role?
So the way that I see this thing as like a assembly line,
Mhm.
I have an editor, I have a shooter, aka videographer, I have a time stamper,
Mm-hmm.
which is like an assistant editor, I should say, and then I have a creative consultant.
Okay.
So those are like the
That's
roles.
the assembly as it moves down, as the
Yeah.
content moves down.
Yeah. So the creative
Okay.
consultant, videographer, editor, assistant editor, and really right now, I got Abby doing scheduling. I don't even know what that role is called for real, but she schedules the editor, she schedules the time stamping, she posts for our clients.
Okay.
So it's
Just
like she
posting.
does the posting, and she makes sure that the editor and the assistant editor has shit to do.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
They'll
She's
walk-
delegating tasks to them to be able to help her job.
Yeah, I
be
call
better.
her a scheduler. I don't know if that's the proper term. I mean, really, I don't think there's a proper term.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
whatever
But
we
that's
say
what's
what
the
it is.
majority of what she's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they come in, they're like, "Hey, what am I doing?" She's like, "Boom, boom, boom, boom."
Sure.
Sometimes I have to do that as well, but right now
We
I'm the
call it a
creative
director.
assistant.
So I mean, like in my operations, that's my director of operations to some degree. If
Yeah.
they're operating those people, like these guys got their tasks, they know what they're doing. So like they have their own title. But if I've got one person that's directing multiple people, that's a director of operations. She's
Okay.
directing operations. So creative consultant, that you still?
Yes.
Are you wanting to replace yourself?
So that I've been going through the battle of, do I want more clients that are at a higher package and we put a ton of energy, or do I want to go kind of what I was just saying with the podcast route?
Yeah.
And before I replace me on that tip, I want this thing to get moving.
Yeah.
Because it's more scalable. We could take more. I think it obviously take more clients to make the money we want to make, but it's something that I don't even have to fucking be here. So I think it's smarter.
Yeah.
I do want to replace me sooner or later as we get those type of clients on.
Like I think you'll always be that.
I'm always gonna
oversight,
want
the
to do
creative
that.
consultant oversight. But
Yeah.
is there somebody that you've even met that matches your energy enough to be like, hey, he could kind of like fill my shoes a little bit?
Not for real.
So the face of this place, you said you would hope one day is not just you,
Yeah.
right? But in all honesty, with the creativity and everything that pours into this place and out of this place, it comes from you.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind being the face, but when I say the face, like I said, someone come in here and my face pops up on the video. What's up, guys?
Yeah,
Joey,
yeah,
get
yeah,
attention,
yeah.
STL.
Yeah.
Like I'm cool with that. I just don't want to have to pour my energy because, dude, I pour it all.
Yeah.
Like you pay me 1,000 or you pay me 20,000, you're getting
You're
me.
getting all of it.
You're getting me.
Yeah.
And then I go home and I'm trying to be a father and a husband. Is just like I have to be a better business owner
Yeah.
rather than a better hustler.
So we can rewind just a second. How is that home life support system? Like
Dude, my wife's a shit.
wife,
Wife
you
is
guys been
amazing.
together a long time, haven't
Very
you?
long time. We
Yes.
met when we were in like 10th, 11th grade. I wouldn't say like, I don't know how we're married.
Yeah.
I do because God is good and she is just my rock. Like I put her through the ringer with me going on tour. We had a daughter at 19. We have 3 girls now, and like she was with me from the bad and the ugly to where we are now, and it's just a blessing that she's with me. She's a full-blown supporter. She's in the operations with me.
Good.
She is someone that the team goes to. So we were talking that one day about Billions.
Yeah.
She is that lady that's on Billions that people go to and talk like their life shit. I forget what that chick's name, but like that's how her flow is. We actually she was doing all the books and all that stuff, but we made the decision to bring in someone that's more on playing a CFO level for us.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes when it's your money, like that's not our expertise. So like sometimes the money should go over here or over here, should be played the game like this. Like it's just too personal. And it's like all the money's not our money. Right. But I know I squirreled right there. But.
No, but you're right. And we will touch base on that because that's really important to be able to recognize your weak points, because the fact of the matter is all of us in business aren't good at every aspect of our business.
I don't even like looking at the bank accounts.
I mean,
I think
somebody needs to keep an eye on them.
That's
but
her.
Whoever you put in charge of that needs to keep an eye on them.
But I still have that problem of like, I closed this deal. I closed a big deal this month. And I'm like, where is all that money going? And I think it's just the scarcity level of like, I don't care. I just like, if we need money, tell me and I'll go get it.
Yeah.
But it's something that it drains my energy. Like when we break down numbers and spreadsheets, like I'm just like, get that shit out of my face. Right. And I think sometimes I sit and ask myself, and I think that's something you can help me with is, is that bad?
Or that it drains you?
Well, I mean, it's just like that I run from looking at bank accounts.
No. The fact that you're able to recognize that that's not your thing and that you need to put somebody in place to do that. See, the whole idea behind business and scaling it, if that's what you want to do, to go from this hustler to this full-blown business, is to find people to do your job better than you do it. Yeah. Now, if you know creative consulting is your thing and you haven't found somebody to do that better than you and you really enjoy that, that's your passion.
That and sales, that's what I love.
Those 2 things. But if numbers ain't your thing, and being a CFO or being an accountant, that ain't your thing, then you need to find people that do that really, really well and pay them to do it. Right. Because then those people will watch your money and you can just go make it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got to have people, when you're talking about that, you have people that you trust. I mean, it's got to be a party that you trust, if it's an individual or if it's a company or whatever, because obviously you're giving them full reins to your finances. Yeah,
the person we're bringing on is like, because that's how my wife was too. She was like, I don't know, man. Like, it's our money, and I was like, I said, you need to oversee that person.
Correct.
Like, that's your role. You oversee.
You macromanage, don't micromanage it. Have them do that.
Yeah. Know enough to know something's off.
Yes.
But I love, I want me and my wife's energy to be protected. Yeah. I don't want me to feel some type of way and then have to go home and like, I can't just be like, there's wifey. No, I look and say, there's wifey that didn't do what I needed done. So now I'm feeling resentful and I'm looking and I'm like, I can't just turn this off and now I'm pissed off. Oh, yeah. I want to be able to go home and say, what up, babe? Yeah, today, man, there's some shit going on. Yeah. I need you to holler at her, and talk to her. Okay? Yep. Boom. Like, I don't want to feel some type of way.
Now, is it easy for you to be able to do that? Because like for me, it was hard for me to do that. It was hard for me to delegate that to her. And she's going, hey, I'll do this. But like, I'd be like, I'll just take care of it. And then it got to a point where I'm like, I need help. And she's like, I've been telling you, I will help you. If you would just tell me what to do, I'll do it. And I'm like, I don't want to tell you everything. She's like, just tell me what you need done and I will do it.
Yeah, I think definitely my therapist says I have a control problem. And then I sit back and think, and I'm like, do I? Probably. Definitely. But I don't want, like, it's not like I want to do it. It's just my expectations are high. So it's like, if I see you not do something and then not do something and then not do something, I'm getting pissed.
And I don't know how it was for you, but I know for me, I spent a lot of years doing it all on my own.
Yeah, same.
You know what I mean?
Everything besides shooting.
Right. Okay. So then when I got to the point where I'm like, hey, I want to bring you in to help me with these other things, it's hard to give that control up to anybody. Even the one person I trust more than anybody in this world, it's hard for me to give that up to her. Yeah. So it is a control thing. You know what I mean? But scaling, going back. So family support system, great. You got girls, got 3 girls.
Girl dad, yeah.
Wife been with you for a long time, been through the trenches, been through the mud. I talk about that because Personal and professional development go hand in hand.
Yeah.
How you are in your personal life, how you function things in your personal life, how things operate in your personal life absolutely blend over into your professional life. And rather people want to think they can keep that separated or not, at the end of the day, they can't completely. They do blend together.
Yeah.
So it's really important when you're doing big things on the business side that you have a really good support system on the backside. Once you have all that, figured out, I wanted to make sure that we understood that in your story, that you have that.
Yeah.
So as we're talking forward, people aren't wondering, well, is he married? Does he have kids? Yeah, I've got this beautiful life outside this place. And yes, I do it for them, but yes, I do it for me. Because that's something that's really hard for people like us to express to people.
Yeah.
They didn't, they say sometimes when you miss out on your kids' things or you miss that dinner date with your wife and all that, because you're like, I was working, I'm doing this for you. They didn't ask for that.
Yeah.
So what you need to understand is you did it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did do it for me. You know what I mean? I did do that for me. I wanted that. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to close that deal. I wanted to make that money. I want you guys to be able to take part in the fruits of that. But yeah, I did it for me. I guess you're right. That was kind of selfish. I shouldn't have missed those things.
But I also go back because I'm the same way. And I think with me just turning 32, my wife's 32, I've accepted that I could run faster inside of life, of business and everything, but I'm actually going to enjoy. I can always grow 10 years from now, 20 years from now, but I can't, these memories with my kids, man, like I might sacrifice some revenue right now, some money right now, but I'm good. I'm wise enough.
Yeah.
I'm young still.
Yeah.
But I see people, I see how they move, and not saying that they're wrong. It's just I don't want to move that way, and my wife helps me with that because there are times I want to run rapid. But what truly matters is this. But with what you just said is doing it for you. Like when God put us on this earth, when we came out of our mothers, they didn't put me on this earth just to be a dad or just to be a husband.
Right.
Like we're still individual humans
Right.
with desires
Right.
that we're gonna go get.
Right.
So it's hard. It's hard being hustlers and create and builders like we are.
Yeah. Especially when that's where you came from. You came from the hustle.
Yeah.
We didn't get handed anything.
Like before I knew you and before I had you, I was this.
Right.
So how can you expect me not to be this?
Yeah.
So it's getting gritty like that, and then, but then also the humble husband, right, and father, because I do when I die or when it's my time.
Yeah.
My wife asked me the other day, like, what do you want your kids to say? And I was like, I want them to know, like, my dad was the lighthouse.
Right.
Like my dad during dark times showed me the way, guided me. Like during dark times, I wasn't afraid to look up and look at my lighthouse. I want to be the lighthouse.
Yeah.
And that kind of fucked me up a little bit right there.
Well, hey man, it's the truth.
Just that real shit. Like,
But it is like, at the end of the day, at the end of your life, if right now the kids are in school and they say, hey, who's your hero? Would you want anything more for them to be like, it's my dad.
yeah,
And my dad's my hero. Like I
Yeah.
want to be him. I admire him. I love him more. He's everything to me, especially little girls. Because I got 3 little girls too.
yeah,
My son's my oldest, and he's my buddy. You know what I mean? And we have a different relationship that I do with my girls. But my girls, I want every man they ever meet, the expectation of them is set by me.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
The first man they fall in love
I'm
with.
either
Is,
it's the first person they fall in love with, or it's the first person that breaks their heart.
Mm.
Which one do you want to be?
That's real shit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel you on that. I'm an emotional person when it comes to that kind of
Yeah.
stuff too, especially when we're talking about my kids and stuff. But how that all plays into this is when that is your fuel that you add to the fuel you already have. And we're here today with what we're doing today. And this operation that we just talked about in your podcast rooms and how you want to do that, how you want to scale. What is your goal for 2024? Here.
My goal for 2024 is to have everything operating, the other side, this room, that podcast room, and 2 other podcast rooms,
Mhm.
and have this thing generating $30,000-$40,000 a month
Mhm.
without me. All I got to do is close down the deal, and everything else is moving.
And do you hit in the creativeness part is all you'll tap into all that? Or like some of the stuff with commercials and stuff, it's a video, it's a person doing video and it's the dude doing his thing
Dude,
behind the camera, right?
The best part about the podcast stuff is I initially closed the deal, right? we're talking. You got the website, the full blown stuff like that. You were the first one to get like a dope ass website like that.
Oh, I like that too. You guys are doing a great
It's
job.
fire.
Loving it.
So it's like,
Loving it.
all right, that's month one. Like you're a part of the beginning of
The growth.
this.
Gotcha.
To seeing like, does this work? Does that work?
Sure, love it.
This great. And I think that month one to have that brand design, like I don't have to sit there and creative consult after that. After
I even like the
month
fact that you gave me access and you're like, hey, listen, like we could go back and forth with the words you're wanting to use, but we basically filled it all in. Go back and just edit it.
Yeah.
Guys like me is fine with that because I'm a little bit of a controlling dude.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, yeah, man, throw it back to me. I'm sitting there at my laptop at like 12 o'clock at night, and my wife's like, all right, I'm going to bed. And I'm like falling asleep at the laptop. Like I'm reading the sentence 3 or 4 times. I'm like, I got to get this right because I've told them for like the last 4 days I'm going to do it. But I want it to be my words the way that I would express that to somebody.
Right.
In the way that if they're going to hire me or they're going to call me, that this is what they're getting. This is the dude they're dealing with.
Yeah.
This is the level of professionalism I'm bringing. This is the crew, the team that I'm bringing in to help you. So I appreciated that.
And I think it's also now just from based off that experience, I already know how to go. Like I know the form that you filled out in the original, that's kind of where we got a lot, obviously, all those answers.
Yeah.
But it's just worded different.
Yeah.
Right. But getting this thing, there's no creative consulting. There's not.
No.
Like the creative consultants are the people that are paying me $3,000 to $5,000 a month, and they get Joey Yak, and I'm almost capped at that just because it's a lot of energy, and like we're doing, we're a mid 6-figure company, and I started this thing 5 months ago, like in the lifetime value.
So you're saying captain time slots?
Capped in Joey giving you my energy. It's like. Now it's going to end up going from 5 to 7, 7 to 10. Like there's people, Steve Ludwig, for example, he came in, he pays our nice little package for everyday content. He comes in, he has a podcast, he's shooting on the LED wall right now, shooting in his Porsche, and we post for him, we edit for him. And then he was like, I want some ads. So he gets a little bit of a discount, but he spent about $10,000 on big, high quality ads and getting fucking great results. Pennies on the dollar for lead costs and stuff. He has his own people running his ads. I love doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Joey Yak is always going to do that.
Yeah.
But that shit will burn you out if that's how you're surviving.
Yes.
So my whole goal is 2024. If I didn't want to close one more motherfucking deal for Joey Yak, this thing will give me and my family the lifestyle. It will give my employees the vision and the goal to say this is going to be my career for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be able to make money doing this shit. And it doesn't, like my crew right here, for podcast wise, man, this is all I need.
And then it gives you the
6 deep.
space to be able to make decisions later. Like I can pick and choose.
Absolutely.
Who do I want to do business with?
And I'm there right
How much
now.
do I want to charge? Like I do this all the time, and sometimes it shoots me in the foot because I'm like, hey, maybe I came up with this idea, so maybe you can still hook me up. But when you get to a point where you're oversaturated, you don't have any more time, and you think you're charging good money, it's because you ain't charging enough.
Real shit.
So what happens is you raise your pricing until you start to lose a couple customers, not all of them. You just start to lose a few. Because if you think about it, if you're at this price here, say you even double it, okay? And you lose like 2 clients out of 10. So you still got 8 clients. Now you got more time and you're still making more money and you're doing less.
Yeah.
But you're getting to be able to put more time into better content. And then as that starts to evolve, people start to look and go, dude, what's that dude cost? Like I have personally paid significant amount of money to be in groups with people that I knew just being affiliated with them was going to get me to the next level. And they wanted me there. Well, if they wanted me there, it's still a pay-to-play system. Well, that's how this kind of is. You want the best of the best out here? You want that content that's fire that nobody else is producing in this area right now? I mean, I got people that are flying from Chicago. They're flying in all over the place to do this, coming to this little studio right here to shoot. Well, you're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to pay for it, then you're going to have to keep doing what you're doing right now. And when you can get on that level, come see me.
Definitely the overall vision is when people come in here and they look and they meet me and they see me in the office. And, I love being in this building. And like when it's fully operated and it's going to be a fucking chaos of people running around and they're here for one reason and one reason only. And it's to fucking feel that experience, feel that energy and get creative on a podcast or in the content rooms or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they ask, like you said, well, how much do you cost?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Get people in the
Like
door.
I can see all these people, but I want you. What do you cost?
Well,
Yeah.
you want who Tim Grover has.
Correct.
You want who Drew Hanlon has.
Correct.
So this is the price. And
That's why they're here. That's what drew them. That's what drove them here in the first place.
Yeah, I think it's still the old Joey that's getting used to even seeing the results. Like my therapist even said, it's so crazy that you have imposter syndrome, dude. Like, because I don't sit there and think that I'm not the person that I am, because I know who the fuck I am.
Yeah.
But I think I'm a creative. I am a self-made hustler. But when it comes to the whole business thing, I think the scarcity guy that came from North County and Hazelwood creeps in and he's like, you definitely are worth this, but just charge this because you need this right now.
Yes.
I'm over the
Like
whole
I
needing.
can sell that guy at this price. This is going to be a stretch and I just need it. So let me just charge that so I can get it.
And I think also the guy that runs from the money, not looking at the bank accounts. And that's one reason why I don't like being that guy.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes, especially being creative, I tell stories in my head that might not even be true about money.
Yeah.
Like I might put myself through the motherfucking ringer saying like, fuck, I need to go get this money. I just need to close this fucking deal because like, do we even have money? I'll fuck around and go ask my wife. She's like, bro, we got money.
Fine. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, whoa, that's because I don't fucking know where the money's going, or I don't know what we stashed, or I don't know where this.
So that's a system. That's a system. So when you say you're upset about, or should I be upset about not wanting to be a part of that? No, that's just another system. So you have somebody that's in place. That person needs to understand your costs. They need to understand a P&L very, very well. They need to do it depending on how stuff flows in and out of here. They might need to do it weekly. They might need to do it daily. They need to at least do it monthly. They need to understand what your monthly expenditures are and what you're bringing in. What is your recurring revenue? What is one-off revenue that's popping in from, stuff that's people that don't have subscriptions and stuff, So they need to understand what that is. And then they need to understand what your break even is. They need to understand what all these people are costing you, because also that plays into like, if you want to give Allie or whoever a raise, you need to know what kind of money you're making. If she's producing extra money for you and what she's putting out for you, then she deserved that raise, because obviously we want to give back to our people too, because we can't forget that we're here because of them to some degree. Like I envisioned this, I put it together, but it's operating and running every day because of them. So I have to get some of that back to these people too.
Man, that's
they're
another
on that
thing,
journey
dude.
with me, but some people take advantage of that. So there's a fine line there too. So you do need to stay in your lane if you know your lane, because you said you do. You know it really well. So make sure you hire people that understand the other stuff you don't better than you and can explain it to you. And then you need to have somebody macro manage those people so that they can just see what they're doing and how it's going. And that makes sense. That makes sense. Like I told you, we ran into this recently. I started a business and I hired professionals. I paid a lot of money for these professionals. And then I started micromanaging them. And it finally just came to a head. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing this all wrong. This is not like every other business I've done. You hire these people to do their job. Get out of their way and let them do their job.
Yeah.
That's what they do. I do this. They do that. Let them do their job.
I think where I'm at too is like me being such a hustler that I've attracted other hustlers that are grinding with me, but they also building a team is hard as fuck. Like I'm very good at leading. I'm very good at showing the vision, and people definitely look at me and they want to be a part of it. That's for damn sure. I'm not nervous about leading a team to the destination. I think sometimes, especially people that have been rocking with you for a long time, I'm learning the ins and outs of knowing when I'm getting taken advantage of. Like they're taking advantage of my kindness.
Yep.
They're taking advantage of, all right, I got this over here. So it's like, shit, I've had conversations with Brandon about this. Like he's had to wipe his whole team before.
Yeah.
Where he's like, fuck it. 2 times. Where he's like, the culture is not where I want it to be. I definitely need to develop more into the person that I want to be. And then a lot of times I think when I go to think like people have been around for so long that they are who they are. But like, I know personally our culture, like as we're continuing to grow, as we're bringing new people on, we all need to adapt or else it's like crazy. Like it made me sick to my stomach the other day, like thinking about some people not being with me because it's like they've been rocking for so long or they're so close, but it's like that personal and business shit right there. That's why you can't be so close sometimes.
But
it's like, when do you,
that's a mindset. So,
but how can I tell somebody not to go get it?
It depends on what you're talking about. When you say, how do I tell them not to go get it? Is it in detriment of you that you're telling them not to go get it? Because here's the way I look at it. I've talked to people and said, listen, if this isn't working out with you being with me because you have this vision, I only want what's best for you. I really truly do. At the end of the day, I wanted you to have that with me, but if you don't have that with me and you need to go do it on your own, I want that for you.
Yeah.
So go do it. Just know this. If you take this path, sometimes that door doesn't open back up. So if that's the way you want to go, I support you 100%. But just know, like I got guys I've let go because they thought that grass was greener and they all want to come back. And I'm like, I don't hire back because you already showed me who you were.
Yeah,
And
but
so
I
can't
think
bring you back in.
I think mine isn't even that. It's I know the person, like the people want to be there, but it's more so kind of playing on both sides of the. It's like I'm here,
hmm
but when other opportunities come up, I'm supposed to say, "All right, yeah, go get that bag real
Like they're
quick."
bouncing you to go take care of that.
Yeah, to get that quick money, and then they come back, and then they're back in operation. But it's like, all right, while you're
Does that
gone,
hurt you when they're gone?
I don't know, but I know that when people are paying us monthly,
hmm
and if they hit me 2 days before and they say I need to come up and shoot,
hmm
or I need this and I need that, and like one of my people are gone, yes, it will.
Do you have enough to keep that person there all the time? He's just moving, he's bouncing out on his own just because, or could he have been here this whole time working? Like you keep him busy the whole time.
Yes and no. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just like how I'm shifting from hustler, because like you would ask, we would be talking about this a year ago. I wouldn't give a fuck because I was controlling the more so the schedule, more so the shooting, the
Mhm.
commercials. Clients wouldn't even come in town. Like a
Mhm.
year ago, I would hire actors from St. Louis. I would write the scripts. We would go film it. We'd be like, hey, we might shoot, 10 times a month, but
Mhm.
if I don't have it on the schedule, go do you.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah.
But now it's such a structured business
Mhm.
where it's like damn near you are an employee. That's why it's so hard when you have a ton of hustlers. It's like I'm
Are
learning.
these hustlers all employees?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So they're all employees now.
Yeah.
So this guy that bounces in and out, is he an employee?
Yeah.
Has that expectation been expressed to him that he understands? See, that's a problem there too.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no, because like they know.
Like clearly, like
I don't know.
Hey,
It's
I'm-
something that needs to be talked about.
in writing, like I'm talking handbook. Like these are my expectations of you. This is what I need from you. Can you give me this? If you can't give me this, that's another conversation we have to have. Because at the end of the day, like you said, I don't want to deprive you or your family or whatever from this money you need to have to keep your lights on and stuff if I'm not keeping you busy enough. But if I have stuff going on and I can keep you busy and I need you here with me, I need you dedicated to me, but you're off doing this over here for some money and then come back when it's convenient for you, but it was inconvenient for me for you to leave, then I don't know if you're my guy.
Yeah.
That's a hard conversation to have for a lot of people, especially if it's somebody that's been there with you for a very long time.
Yeah, it's
It's
hard.
been
as
hard
fuck.
for me too. It's easier for me to tell you than it is for me to do it.
Yeah,
that
facts.
makes sense.
I mean, that's how most
Yeah.
of the time it is.
Yeah.
And then also with pricing your services
Mhm.
to make sure that people are getting paid what they deserve
Mhm.
and knowing when to give raises, like all that type of stuff. That shit just gives me anxiety just because I'm out
Well,
here
if that's
getting
not
it.
what you do, have somebody else do that too.
Yeah, I just don't even know where to start with that shit.
Delegating that as well. But I mean, some of that you need to have your hands on in the beginning so that you understand that it's kind of like set, like this is what I can afford, or this is, I mean, it's as simple as looking at your competition and saying, what is my competition paying? Or it's simple as putting your feet in their shoes and saying, what would I expect to be paid
And
to do
I
this?
know people say this and they're probably full of shit. And like, I don't know another social media video production company around here or
What would be the next best thing?
people that are charging for commercials and they're charging way too fucking much that I just say ew because I don't believe in that. Like I've always been the guy that would undercut them because
Yeah.
I know if I did one ad for you right now
Mhm.
and charged you 20 grand,
Mhm.
that ad might not work. And the video production company would be like, hey, we're not running the ad. But me as a creative and as a sales guy and a marketing guy, I say, for that one video, I'm gonna make you like 6 and you're gonna have to test.
Mhm.
So it's like I've always been that guy to like, what's the problem? They're overcharging.
Mhm.
I'm gonna charge the same, but I'm gonna give them more value because that's what they need. You
Are
know?
you making money doing that?
Fuck yeah.
Okay. Are you different than everybody else then and what they're doing?
As far as the creativity wise,
Well, if everybody else is doing it the other way you're talking about and you're doing it this way, that makes you different than the rest of them, right?
yeah.
It's what makes you stand out.
Yeah, for sure.
what
But
makes you
that
Joey, yeah.
model burnt me the fuck out though, because you have to
Okay.
find customers over and over.
Right.
And it's like, no, I want to go narrow and deep with people.
So
So
you
now
recognize that. You're like, I'm going to shift.
Yeah.
That's when I know when to pivot. You know
this
what I mean?
model that I got going on is amazing. It's
Yeah.
the most peaceful I've ever felt. It's actually the most stable we've ever been as a company.
Mhm.
It's it's just hard to look at my competition because I don't know another building I can walk into and
Not
say,
just here, but period.
Really? Like, I don't know a social media video production company.
Gotcha.
That's what I say this.
Have you researched it at all?
Fuck yeah.
And you can't find one?
I cannot find another building, a place.
I haven't found anything like this. Like, I was surprised the first time I came here. I didn't know something like this existed.
Which
I
makes
thought it
me
was somebody
excited.
else's podcast room. And I even had people tell me, hey, I got this room and we're building our own podcast room. When then I came here and seen this, I was like, why would I build my own podcast room for the cost of it? Which is still good money for you. And it's for me, it's good too. But it'd be a lot more expensive for me to build my own podcast room, buy all my own equipment, and shoot my own stuff.
Exactly. And you still would have to pay somebody to edit it and do all that. And then with the LED wall and like, the building is...
So I don't know anybody doing this at all. Didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
So that in itself is something that you really need to like stick with and run real hard. So when you're talking about scaling this operation, and I know what you're looking at doing by the end of 2024, we always have to have like a big picture. Like maybe we don't have it yet. Maybe we don't know exactly that we thought it would even get to where it's at today. But so I have a goal for 2024. I might have monthly goals. They might be some financial goals. If you're not keeping track of your money, maybe it's just a business. I want to do business with this person, this company, this da-da-da-da. I want to close these deals. That might be your goals. What's the big picture for, what do we call this, Yak Industries? I mean, what is it? What do we got?
Like I said, for the end of 2024, I want this thing to be fully operated to where we look at each other and we say, we're gonna have to open up another fucking building.
So you want to expand on this business model?
This business model is what I want to run with.
Gotcha.
I'll be the face of it. That's cool because it's a flaw, it's a strength, but it's also my weakness. My strength is I can turn this button on in my brain and go in, yo, what up, guy, and be him. But then it's also my weakness because when in doubt, that dude comes out.
Yeah.
And then it just goes into a hamster wheel because now it's like, all right, we are just selling you again, dude. You're selling you. Now you got to fulfill.
Right.
Now you have to do it.
Now you got to be involved.
Now you need to get the fuck out the way.
Right,
Goddamn me.
Right,
and you need to double down on this business model
Yeah.
and become a leader.
Yeah.
Become that guy that truly believes God is showing me how to have other creators get compensated.
Well, and as well as you're doing right now, you're going to have people start coming to you. And this creative energy that you have, that'll brush off on people. I've seen almost as a cult. I've seen other people do it. I mean, they have people in the thousands come to them and they have the same energy. They match their energy. Yeah, they're not them. You're already taken.
Right.
So nobody's going to be Joey. But you can get people that come in and match your energy and still push that needle the same way you were doing it, because the same way you connect with a lot of people, you might not connect with everybody. And this guy might connect with the same people you do, and he might connect with those people that you didn't.
Right.
And so being able to let go of that a little bit and just be like, dude's doing good. Like this guy represents me and he's representing my business model. So basically you have to be able to make this building copy paste. So you have to set all those structures in place, make it simple, set it up the way you want it. And now you know exactly, like, instead of taking 5 years to build it, I copy this, boom. We go down here, we buy this building, lease this building, set it all up just like this. Now I'm having clients over in this area coming down, or there was clients that wasn't willing to come all the way up. Because I mean, for me, it's an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes to come up here. I'm willing to do it because of what I'm getting for it.
It takes you an hour and 15 to come here?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. So, but at least.
See, imagine if I had some down, you guys would be like,
that's
hell
what I'm saying,
yeah.
dude. Yeah, we'd be there every day.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what we shooting today? So, no, I'm all about it. So, but I know from your standpoint and from what I'm seeing on the other side of it, I'm like, people eat this stuff up.
Yeah.
This is great. It's a great price point. Even if you raise it a little bit, don't raise it on me. But I'm saying, but even if you raise it a little bit, people still would pay it, man. Yeah. Because it's all about.
Do too is you end up, if they want you cost more than the people below you.
Yes. And you mentioned that earlier, but I mean, after the first time we talked about it, we've talked to other people who are like, listen, if they want to get you within that business model, you cost this.
Yes.
Look at the other people doing it. Look at, like you talk about Brad Lee, and those guys do mentorships. Do you know what it costs to be in their mentorships? If you want to have direct access to those people,
it's a lot of money.
You know what though? The people that write those checks, the people that write a $50 check, what am I getting for my $50? The guys that write a $50,000 check, hey, I wired that money yesterday. When did we start?
No.
You know what I mean? So
it's that meme that the $500 client, the 5,000, it's real.
Dude, Alex Ramosi talks about it. He is not wrong. And these guys are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. They get it. They get it because they've been where we're at and they made it to where they're at and they've seen it all. And so when we look at it, we're like, yeah, it's easy for you to talk about from where you're at. It's not. Yeah. They lived all of that. We're just in the suck still. We're in the middle and we're growing our way that we're going that way. We'll look at this podcast 5 years from now and be like, remember when we did that podcast 00001? I add all the zeros because that's how many of these we're going to do.
Damn right.
Because we'll look at it and go, look at where we're at now. You don't ever lose that creativity. You don't ever lose that drive. I mean, that never goes away. That's who you are. But you do have to scale it into a way where if you want to grow, I have to dictate like this person does that and that person does that. I have to delegate these tasks. I have to set these SOPs in place. The structure, the framework has to be solid so that I can copy that. Because if I like this business model and I like this house and the way this is set up, I might go look at another house and go, from a vision wise, we had to change all this in this one so that it looked like this, but this one's got more potential because of that room and the acoustics and all the stuff, the way
Dude,
it's
I
set up.
see it. It's like we got this building because it's 6 minutes down the road, and
Yeah.
like even me buying this, like I seen a question that you asked me, and I don't know what timing we're at right now. 12 o'clock. When did we start this? 10:45. We're fine right now.
But we
We've
can
been
cut off whenever
jamming.
you
We've
want.
been
Yeah, no,
jamming.
we're just rolling.
But one of the things, like to get this building, it was $420,000.
Mm-hmm.
Got an SBA loan, so I needed 10% down. It was like 80 something thousand.
Mhm.
And I had what did I have, like 40 my own, and then somebody loaned me the other money
Mhm.
based off of the character that I developed. So it's like
They believed in you.
they did, man. And like I think that's why people just need to like focus on doubling down on them, not so much on like how am I gonna do this, but I'm gonna do this and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the best version of me. And that guy wired me that money like it was fucking nothing. Like he's happy to be a part of my journey.
Sure.
There's people that want to help you out here.
Yeah, there
So I just need to
absolutely
make
is.
sure, like, because I'm very vocal about someone loaning me money to own this piece of real estate because, man, I never would have thought that I would own real estate or own businesses
Right.
at all.
Right.
So this, like, when I seen this, it's 6 minutes down the road. This will always be at HQ, but like how we say houses and stuff. The next one I see in like shopping centers and stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Like I see you driving down the street and how you can see like a fucking Club Fitness. You'll see Get Attention STL, and you know that's where the business owners are going to
You
get their
walk
content.
in, you got this reception desk,
I see
and
it,
all that stuff's going on behind the walls behind that. You know what I mean?
I see it.
Yeah.
And I see fucking the walls wrapped, and it's a photo of me and Tim Grover, like, what up? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, damn, greatness is
The grand
coming out of
opening,
here.
have those people come out. They're doing
Ah,
sign-
don't
You know what I
dog.
mean?
Dude, I see it, bro.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
see the vision. I think now it's,
And
know-
that's what helps sell people that want to be a part of this. The reason to be honest with you, the reason that I even want to do this, yes, you're offering a service to me, but I want to be a part of what you got going on. The same way you said you want to be a part of what I got going on. I see that in other people too, and I want to attach myself to them because I'm like, when we go on this journey, all of us in this world, who we attach ourselves to, especially in business, is going to speak volumes about who we are. When you're connected, when somebody's talking about you and they're like, oh, you're connected with that guy, or they see these videos and you're together. I've done it. I've looked at these videos of other people and be like, that dude's connected to that dude's connected to that dude. I've talked to her. I've been like, I didn't even know those dudes were doing stuff together. They seen it in each other and said, that guy's hot right now. I need to be a part of that.
Yeah.
That guy's a rocket ship. I'm grabbing on. He's going by right now. I'm gonna grab a hold of him. We're gonna go.
yes.
So it's the ability to be able to recognize that and like grab it and go. And sometimes you get burnt. But
Yeah.
that can't scare you from stopping. I've been burnt more times than I can count, but I keep moving. I learn every single time what to avoid, and then I move forward. So that vision, those people, in that the fact that you say that I am gonna do this. I hate when people told me, I hope this works out. I hope this works out. I hate that. I don't ever tell myself that no more mindset. I don't ever say, I hope anything. It's gonna happen. This
Yeah.
is what I'm doing. There is no other choice.
By any means.
I've had the woman I love more than anything in this world with tears in her eyes look at me and say, I don't know if this is working. And I said, you don't have a choice. I don't
We're
have
going
a
to make this
choice.
work.
I'm going and you're coming with me. If
Yeah.
I got to drag you. And she's like, you're right. I have moments of weaknesses. We all do. But the fact that you're able to keep the mindset that this is happening, period, it's just a matter of when, and I can do delayed gratification. I got no problem with that. I am a champ with delayed gratification.
Same.
So, you know what I mean? You got those things in place and you got the mindset right. It's just time, man.
What would you say, so we can just wrap this thing up,
Yeah.
what would you say out of hearing, me squirrel and me say this and that, like what I need to work on and like what are some of the things that I can do? Like right now with this business model, with where I'm at, you as an operator, what would you say that out of everything I said, I should work on?
Mhm.
And what are some steps for me to do that?
So, what I would say based off everything we've talked about, The big goal is to copy and paste this business philosophy. Okay. In order to do that, you definitely need some standard operating procedures. There needs to be a framework that's easily copied to be able to move that. The fact that you only have about 6 people working here, that's pretty easily doable. Okay. It's easy to put people in lanes. It's easy to draw boxes, easy to structure that. The fact that you also recognize your weak points and your strong points is exactly what you need to lean into. So finances, very, very important. So when you say that you need to hire a CFO or you did hire a CFO, very important. An accountant, very important. You need to have somebody who's in charge of operations. They need to be labeled the director of your operations. They need to have a guideline of what they're in charge of.
And they need to know how to
structures-
do everything, right?
If they're a director of operations, it depends on what you're wanting them to do. So like when you say operations, when they come in, all 6 of those people back there that have to do with production and editing and all that, they need to know what all those people's job is. They don't need to know how to do it. They just need to know what their job is. And they need to know, I need to make sure she's doing what she's doing and he's doing what he's doing and they're doing what they're doing. That person keeps everything structured all day long, keeps all that stuff, it's all like this.
Yeah.
So you do creative consulting, you're selling, you're doing sales. Okay. So you're driving business in, they're keeping it organized all day long. Okay. This person over here is watching your money. This person over here is telling you when you need to spend, what we need to invest in. You got your wife overseeing things as a CEO herself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's looking over that stuff too. So that allows you to do the things that you're good at, that you've recognized that you love to do, but it keeps that structure in place. Once that structure's in place, and everything's just a fine-tuned machine, copy and paste. So I would say keep doing what you're doing as far as wanting to hire those people to do those things that you are running from that you hate, because those are important key aspects of business that you need to have in place.
Yeah.
The SOPs are absolutely it needs to be in a manual. So you need to, I don't care if you pull somebody else's manual and just edited it to fit your business model, but you need to have black and white paper. I don't care if it's how to make coffee. It needs to have everything in there to how this editor needs to do their job and what your expectation is, how this person who's doing time stamping needs to do their job and your expectation of it. Because when you're seeing and judging if they're doing it correctly, you're doing it based off how you do it, correct? Okay, so if that's the way you want it done, they need to know that.
Yeah.
Okay, it's easy enough for you to tell them we want this grand, huge business and we want them all over St. Louis. That's great. So how do we get there?
Yeah.
What's that look like?
Well, shit, it was dope is Jeff did his videos and I watched it and I was like, damn, I don't even know how to do some of that. You're
better at it than me. And that's what you need. You need
I
people
literally
in those
gave him,
places.
because I edit and post for Grover and stuff still.
Yeah.
And I gave him Grover's video today. Yo, you edit this.
Now,
shit.
the only thing I would take in consideration is until you get a really good rapport with knowing from beginning to end that there's still a check off. So
Yeah.
when I do things, sometimes I'll have people hey, you just take care of all this, right? And at the end of the day, I might say, so what did you come up with? And I see it and be like, check, that's good. You know what I mean? Perfect. And I'm not saying you didn't know what you were doing. I'm just saying at the end of the day, if I didn't like what you did and I went ahead and just let you do it and then it fails, it's still my fault.
Yeah, fair.
It's not your fault, it's my fault. If I signed off on it or I didn't say, hey, man, you did everything really good except for this one thing, I would have just tweaked that a little bit and let them tweak that. It falls back in your lap ultimately. It always does as the owner. So those things but it needs to be in black and white. Hell, your manual might be 10 pages long. You know what I mean? Some people's manuals are 80 pages long because you don't have a massive operation. But you start that and then you add amendments to it and then you add pages to it and then you add sections to it and then you build that. And everybody who comes into this company, hey, this right here is what we expect from that person. You just read that right there. It's, a little book with all the expectations in it. That's
so
how you're
for each role, it should be a different book?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then there needs to be one book that's just how the business operates, expectations, dress codes, whatever is important to you within this industry, how they interact with your clients when they come in, is really important because your perception inside here is going to be the same outside of here. So you don't want people to come in here and then their only metric be the content that they're getting out of here. How is it, dealing with your people? Were they nice? The culture, when you talk about creating a culture, that culture is all your people. It's not just you. You've got all this energy. What's up, man? High five and hugging and all that. What's your people doing? Are they just you know what I mean? Like they need that same energy you got all the time. They got to have that energy too. I know they're doing their job, but your whole creative concept that you have in this place, that is a culture. And everybody within that culture has to do that too.
I need to hear that. That's real.
They do.
Yeah.
They need to be amped up. I went down and did a seminar to some people that I highly respect. And when I showed up there, man, it was like high fives and hugs. And like, that was just me walking through the door to go to my seat. And the whole time was that energy. It wasn't just the main dude, like his people were that way the whole time. And I'm like, this culture, I love this. And they all legitimately feel that way. It's not an act. They all are on that same shit. They're on that. You know what I mean? So you have to create that culture. Everybody's got to be on that page. But if they don't know they need to be on that page because I didn't know that was your expectation. So those are all those, and it's tedious and it's a pain to start. You're not huge enough yet that's not hard to go ahead and sit down. I created a 40-something page handbook in 3 days. I edited it. I mean, I had the concept and everything pulled up for weeks, but I went through and edited it in 3 days and made it mine and gave it to my guys, made them read it all over, and then made them sign it. Because then they can never say, well, I didn't know you wanted me to do that. Yeah, you did. It was in the handbook. You signed it. So it's just super important to have those things. Recognizing the fact that you know what your strong points are and what they're not, get those delegated, and then making sure those procedures are in place. That structure is the absolute basement foundation for you being able to copy and paste this to the next thing. Because then all it is, okay, now it's about rooms, it's about space, it's about location. I can bring the clients in, I can sell, I can do advertising, I can do all that. But I need to make sure that like, if this worked here with these people doing these jobs the way they're doing them, I know that's exactly how it'll work over here. I already have that in place. I don't have to figure it all out again.
Yeah.
That's the scalability factor right there. That's the way you get it to scale.
Dude, I have so many other questions, but I know I need to wrap this up.
We'll hit it again. We'll do a 2.0, man.
We will. I appreciate you,
Thank
dude,
you so
for having
much.
me.
I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you being number one. I appreciate you supporting me, and I'm looking forward to all these years we're going to have together, man.
Next time I come on here, I'll have a handbook.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, peace.
Thank you.
I meant forever when I said forever.